Have you ever found a song, or, maybe just a specific melody, or a tiny 3-second loop of a chorus, and proceeded to listen to it for 5 hours straight? Or maybe even 3 days? People around you are probably like, how are you not completely bored yet? But for you, it doesn't feel like boredom at all, does it? It actually feels like your brain finally found a frequency it actually wants to stay on. Section 1. The same song loop. Finding your brain's frequency. Here's the really crucial part. Psychology actually recognizes this behavior as auditory anchoring. It's a technique your brain actively uses to create a safe cognitive space for deep work. So when you find yourself listening to a single track on an endless loop, it's not a malfunction. You aren't stuck. Instead, you're wielding a psychological tool to protect your focus. Think of this anchor like a giant mute button for the unpredictable noise of the outside world. It creates this dedicated, highly controlled environment where your mind can finally relax and operate at its absolute peak capacity. Section 2. The over-excitability factor. Processing with intensity. Now, your craving for all this repetition actually kicks off because your nervous system experiences sensory and emotional stimulation way more intensely than average. This is built on a really profound concept discovered by Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dąbrowski. He identified a trait called over-excitability. Now, to be clear, this isn't about being hyperactive or anything like that. It simply means your nervous system is wired to absorb the world at a much higher volume. For you, a beautiful piece of music doesn't just sound nice. It literally moves right through you. Your brain just wants to live inside that profound feeling. Moving on to Section 3. The deep processing tax. The exhaustion of perception. This intense level of perception perfectly explains why you might feel absolutely exhausted at the end of a totally normal day. Your highly perceptive brain is essentially a giant data collection machine, right? It's processing immense amounts of information in every single interaction. You're constantly deep processing. You're scanning for complex patterns. You're noticing subtle shifts in behavior, picking up on tiny technical errors in your environment, and absorbing all these tiny nuances that everyone else completely misses. You're taking in significantly more data than the average person. And while that makes you incredibly intelligent and perceptive, man, it is incredibly draining. Which brings us to Section 4, Science of Auditory Anchoring, creating the safe zone. To handle all that severe mental exhaustion, your overexcitable brain desperately seeks out a reliable sensory anchor. Let's look at a direct comparison here. When you throw on a brand new playlist, your data collection machine of a brain is forced to stay on high alert. It's working hard, analyzing tone shifts, unpredictable lyrics, and constantly changing beats. But when you loop the exact same track for the 100th time, all that uncertainty completely vanishes. The music suddenly provides a low-stimulation background, a highly predictable safe zone that finally gives your overworked mind a much-needed break. And this sets off a really fascinating 3-step biological chain reaction right inside your head. First, by engaging with that predictable loop, your planning-heavy prefrontal cortex finally gets the all-clear signal to stand down. It basically realizes, hey, we know exactly what's coming next, we can stop searching for new data. And the moment that happens, the next step kicks in. Your default mode network activates. This is the specific part of your brain responsible for generating deep, creative thoughts, allowing you to focus incredibly intensely on complex tasks without getting derailed by outside interruptions. Let's look at Section 5, the dopamine reward loop, the chemistry of repetition. Beyond just the structural rest it provides, there's also a fascinating chemical reason keeping you so firmly stuck on that musical loop. Your brain experiences what cognitive psychologists call an illusion of mental progress. Essentially, you're constantly getting rewarded with small, little hits of dopamine just for successfully recognizing that familiar musical pattern over and over again. Every single time that chorus hits exactly when you expect it to, your brain feels like it just solved a complex pattern. It releases dopamine, making you feel great, and encouraging you to repeat the cycle all over again. Your brain is quite literally chemically rewarding you for creating a stable environment. So, look, if you are currently stuck on a loop, I want you to know you aren't broken, you aren't obsessive, and you certainly aren't weird. You are simply managing a highly active, highly intelligent mind that just needs structure to stay stable. You're giving your brain the exact, consistent, predictable environment it absolutely needs to mute the chaos of the world and do its absolute best work. I really want to leave you with this incredibly empowering thought. It beautifully reframes this entire experience from being some weird societal quirk into a profound cognitive superpower. Understand the design of your mind, and you'll stop trying to repair your strengths. The way you process the world with that deep intensity and high perception is a massive strength. The way you intuitively use auditory anchoring to protect your peace is just a brilliant adaptation. As we wrap up this explainer, I have a fun little question for you, and I'd really love for you to think about it. What is the one song you currently have on repeat? What is that specific auditory anchor you're using right now to carve out a safe, cognitive space and protect your peace? Take a second to acknowledge it, appreciate the relief it brings you, and most importantly, keep embracing the brilliant, totally unique design of your mind.